Lewys Glyn Cothi, also known as Llywelyn y Glyn, was a prominent Welsh poet who composed numerous poems in the Welsh language. He is one of the most important representatives of the Beirdd Uchelwyr a Cywyddwyr, the itinerant professional poets of the period between the 1284 Statute of Rhuddlan and c. 1600. Life. He was born in c. 1420, possibly at Pw Sinbad Farm, near the remote hamlet of Rhyddy in the parish of Llanbother in southwest Wales. He took his bardic name from the nearby forest of Glyn Cothi in the Cothi Valley. His given name was Llywelyn, but he generally used the name Lewis in his verse, and is more usually known by this name. One of his manuscripts suggests that he may have received some education at Carmarthen Priory, but his early life is otherwise rather obscure. Lewis lived through the Wars of the Roses, in which he was an adherent of the Lancastrian party, becoming an outlaw as a result after the Battle of Mortimer's Cross. He likely witnessed the battle himself in the company of Owen ap Gruffudd ap Nicholas, the son of a prominent Carmarthenshire esquire, and subsequently Owen and Lewis spent time as outlaws in Snowdonia. Lewis was a supporter of Jasper Tudor, the Earl of Pembroke, and later of Henry Tudor. Although many of his poems are addressed to pro-Lancastrian gentry, he was not above praising Yorkist patrons when occasion demanded it, such as the Vaughan family of Hurgast, Herefordshire, with whom his name is often associated. There is a story, originating in a note on a manuscript copy of his poetry, that Lewis settled at Chester and was later ejected from the city by its burgesses for marrying a widow without their consent. Other stories attached to different manuscripts state that he was driven out of the staunchly Yorkist city for making a verse prophecy that Henry Tudor would become king. Although unconfirmed, it seems certain that something occurred to make him a laughingstock of Chester's citizens and to spur him to satirize them mercilessly in an awdl, describing them as the offspring of 8 kinds of intercourse in the bushes, and calling the vengeance of a pro-Lancastrian Welsh noble, Rhynald ap Gruffydd ap Blethen of Mold, on the heads. He travelled widely in Wales, visiting the houses of various patrons, and seems to have had a particular affection for Anglesey, where he paid tribute to the hospitality he received, writing, Gordu yw brig Iwerden, gan fwg signau o phone. He is known to have had at least one son, John, whose death at the age of 5 led Lewis to write one of his most powerful poems, the Elegy Marawn ad Llywelyn y Glyn, part of which runs, in a translation by the academic and poet Gwyn Williams, as Sion's death stands near me, like 2 barbs in my breast. My son, child of my hearth, my breast, my heart, my song, my one delight before my death, my knowing poet, my luxury. Dingo y Fangausan y and Ufrath y and Wydwyfrin. Fy mab, fy muath baban, fy mron, fy galon, fy nan, fy mrydcyn, fy marwe dorad, fy marth doeth, fy moeth moedd. A tradition states that Lewis, who appears to have died around 1490, was buried at Abergwili, but his place of burial and exact date of death remain unconfirmed. One of his last poems is addressed to Henry Tudor after the latter had been crowned as King Henry VII. Work. Lewis was a prolific poet, writing many celebratory poems and elegies. About 230 of his poems have survived in various manuscript sources. Although his strict meter style is not as polished as some, it has been characterized as fluent and natural. His work ranges from elaborate poems of praise and devotional verse to broad humor, the latter particularly when begging patrons for various items. He was an accomplished scribe, and is thought to have been responsible for compiling much, if not all, of Lewys Glyn Cothi, an important late medieval Welsh manuscript which disappeared in the early 19th century. Lewys was also an expert on heraldry, and compiled several treatises on the subject. The manuscript Penniarth 109, which contains over 100 of his poems in his own hand, was illustrated by him with the arms of many Welsh noble families. His entire works were published in 1953 through the cooperation of the National Library of Wales and the University of Wales Press Board, and were edited by E. D. Jones.